I'm joined here today by the one, the only. It is, of course, Dustin Jacoby, set to compete on the Contender Series. I believe it's August 4th. Thank you so much for joining me, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me. I'm excited. The fight is August 4th and really looking forward to it. About a week and a half out.
Of course, man. Where did you find out about this fight? I mean, I know with a lot of guys, they found out like back in March, February, and they've had to sit on this information. Was that the case for yourself?
Yeah, it is. I think it was March. I just had told someone else. I thought it was January, February, but yeah, I think it was like February or March when I found out about the opportunity. And then, it was originally supposed to be June 23rd, and due to the COVID and everything, it got pushed back to August 4th.
And so, how was it for you? First of all, having to sit on that information because you have all this time that goes by. I'm sure you want to tell everybody, and I'm sure you've told the right people. But how was it just having to sit on that?
For me, that wasn't an issue at all, man. I still haven't told a lot of people. And actually, when the UFC announced it on their last big card, my phone started blowing up, and people were like, "What?" They're like, "We had no idea." I didn't tell anybody, man. It's nothing new to me. I've been doing this for 10 years, and I sure do appreciate my fans and my following. But I don't get too. I do get excited, but it's not like I start, telling everybody this and that because, in this game, you just never know. There's been so many fights that, I've almost happened that just haven't happened. So, it wasn't a big deal. I'm excited that everybody knows, and I'm excited that the news getting out, and I'll be even more excited next Tuesday night when you can, see me smashing Ty Flores on ESPN Plus.
That's right. And with everything going on, were you starting to get worried with COVID that, you already had the fight pushed back to August from June? Were you worried that it was just going to get scrapped altogether?
No, not really, because if that was the case, I'd get in one way or the other, but I wasn't too concerned with that. The biggest concern was I just wanted to get active. I wanted to, just get busy, get in there and we do all of this training and that while the training is, it's good and it can be fun. It's even better when we actually have a purpose of it. So I'm excited that the show goes on.
And so the most important question for a lot of guys that get on the Contender Series was, what was your reaction when you got that phone call letting you know for the opportunity? Like, were you very excited about it? Were you kind of cautious because it's not quite the UFC, but it's a foot in the door? Like, what was kind of your reaction?
I was excited to finally have a fight because I'm on a level where the regional guys didn't want, the regional promoters didn't want to pay, regional fighters didn't want to pay. I know I'm good enough to be putting on a show and putting on good performances in the UFC. I just need that opportunity. So when I first got the call, like I said, it was like February, March sometime, and then I heard it was in June, and I was super bummed about that because it seems so long away. Well, here we are. Then I find out it gets pushed back to August. So like I said, man, I'm just excited to get in there and to compete and to reintroduce myself to, some new fans, some old fans, and just get after it.
And so how's this training camp been for you? I imagine it's either been one that's really long or you've had to sort of think about it before starting the camp. How's the actual camp been?
It's been good. It has been long. I've been training all year long. Even when this COVID hit, we were still getting together and when we could and where we could, and it's been a nonstop grind all year. And like I said, it's all cool and stuff, but man, when you don't have something, you don't have a purpose, you don't have a reason for doing it, it can get kind of monotonous. But it's been a great camp overall. I've got a lot of new guys have been in the gym and joining our team, so the energy's up, the electricity's up, everybody's pumped and everybody's excited to get going. That we have a lot of guys in the UFC, so we have a lot of guys that have fights, but we also have a ton of guys that are up and comers or they will be stars in the UFC, and right now they don't have any promotions to fight for. So I feel bad for those guys. I'm very blessed and thankful that I get this opportunity, and when I win this fight, I'll be active. I'll be getting in the UFC again. So I'm excited, man.
And so it has been, I believe it's more than a year actually since we saw you fight. That was, of course, back in June. And you made it count because I believe you had, 2 kickboxing fights, an MMA fight as well. So it seemed like you made the most of it. But with that being said, though, that's a long layoff for fighters. How's that layoff been? I mean, I assume it's got to start itching at you, like you just want to compete at this point.
Oh, yeah, 100%, man. I mean, I had to take all of 2018 off with just some injuries I had, and And then 2019, I was trying to find a fight, just nobody. I could not find a fight. And then, finally had that tournament where I had a boxing match, a kickboxing match, and an MMA fight, which that was a ton of fun. And then again, after that happened, I'm like, where's, I beat the MMA fight. I beat a 15-3 UFC vet, Cody East, at heavyweight. So I was like, I'm for sure getting a call to the UFC, and it just never came. So that was a little frustrating. And again, training was like, come on, man, where's the purpose? I need something to be training for. And then I got the call for the Contender Series. So I know it's going to pick back up, man. I'm going to have this fight. I'm going to smash Ty Flores, and then I'm going to get busy, get active, and go out there and get some bonuses that I've been after.
That's right. I mean, your combat sports career, it's a little bit weird, right? Because we see you fight in MMA. We see you take a bunch of kickboxing fights. Every now and again, it's a boxing match. What's the reason for this? Is it about taking whatever contest you can and whatever you find? Like, what's the reason for doing so many different martial arts?
Well, when I first got cut from the UFC almost a decade ago, I continued fighting on. I had some MMA fights. I beat UFC vets, guys who hadn't been to the UFC yet, and then I got a call to do a kickboxing tournament with Glory and Glory Kickboxing, and I ended up winning that tournament. I had no idea what I had won, but that changed my career and kind of changed the trajectory of where I was going, man. I started 2013. I started primarily training kickboxing, and I had 20 professional kickboxing fights with Glory, and my career was just taking off that way. I was fighting a ton of killers that the casual fan or even the hardcore MMA fans don't even know. Guys like Michael Duke, Daniel Lunga, Alex Pereira, Murad Bouzidi, Simon Marcus. I mean, those guys are all guys I've went toe-to-toe with that are absolute killers, that have got me to where I am now. So I had my kickboxing career, and then while I was primarily focusing on kickboxing, I had a couple MMA fights here and there, took some fights with Titan and ended up winning, which got me an opportunity with Bellator, and fought a couple tough wrestlers there. And now after taking some time off and with kickboxing, I wanted to get back into MMA, and that's where I'm at. I'm back in MMA and excited to get back with the big show.
All right, and let's talk about your upcoming fight here a little bit against Ty Flores. First things first, when they called you and let you know that's who you were fighting, was this someone that you were familiar with?
Well, at first, actually, I was supposed to fight, I can't even pronounce the guy's name. It was a 9-0 Russian kid. And I was extremely pumped, to get the opportunity. And I was like, here we go, man. Wasn't phased. But then because of the COVID and the travel restrictions and whatnot, I believe, that he had to switch, and it switched over to Ty Flores. And then I, started doing some research and saw that, he's a Missouri kid, trained at the Hit Squad where I used to train when it was the real Hit Squad. And then ended up, I moved out to Denver, then he ended up moving out to Denver. So we've kind of been on the same path, except I have a lot more experience, and I'm going to prove that on August 4th.
For sure, and it's interesting you talk about the experience. Obviously, I believe you have 16 MMA fights, but we're also looking at even more with the kickboxing matches and all sorts of things. Like, do you think your experience is going to play a big factor coming into this fight?
Oh, 100%, man. I had 10 amateur MMA fights, so I've had 26 MMA fights, and I had 20 professional kickboxing fights, a professional boxing fight. I think 100% my experience is going to show in this fight. I think the maturity that I'll bring to the cage is going to show. And this is a Contender Series. You look at a lot of the guys; they're 5-0, they're 6-0, they're 7-2. They're up and coming guys, right? I don't see myself as an up and comer. I see myself as that veteran, and the world's going to see that. I'm going to show that when you see us fight. You're going to see the levels, the difference between an up and coming contender and a veteran who's hungry and ready to make a run to the top.
And so with kickboxing, we've seen sometimes it can translate really well to MMA. For example, the UFC middleweight champion, Israel, obviously he's doing really great, has that kickboxing background. Other guys, not so much, because there's always talk about the wrestling and all that stuff. How do you feel like the kickboxing game has sort of impacted your MMA game? I assume you have a lot more advantages on the feet, but what has that sort of brought for you coming into MMA?
The biggest thing for me is I'm going to have the advantage on the feet big time, and everyone's going to see that pretty much with anybody I fight in MMA, man. I mean, it's just going to show. You look at my kickboxing resume, the guys I fought, I can't say this enough, and it's not so much the kickboxing I've learned, but just the adversity and the struggle I've been through, and stepping in the ring with some real killers, some real fighters, some guys that are just amazing talent. And I think that's the biggest difference, man. Wrestling, it's part of it. The thing I like about it, if I go and focus on boxing and kickboxing, when the wrestling happens, I'm just going to react. I'm going in there to box him up, to kick his head off. If he takes a shot, I just react and I stop it. And you don't think, you just react. So, I think, obviously doing the kickboxing at such a high level, my striking is going to be superior, but also now I'm more kickboxing minded. So I'm going to go in there to kickbox, and then, whatever else happens, I just react. You don't think, you just react. So I think that's a big deal too.
And so, the big thing with this show is obviously you're fighting in front of Dana White. I believe they call it the toughest job interview in the world, and they're probably right about that. But there's also that pressure to finish and get the exciting finish to get yourself noticed. Obviously, people know who you are. You've been around for a long time. But is there extra pressure on you to go out there and try to finish this fight with some sort of highlight reel finish to, get Dana to sort of offer you that contract right away?
No, man, I don't think there's any pressure. I'm a finisher anyway. Like, when I go into a fight, people ask me how I'm going to win. I say by knockout. Like, the only thing I don't picture taking people down and submitting them and wrestling them for a decision. I picture in my head, I'm going to punch you, I'm going to kick you, I'm going to knee you, and I'm going to knock you out. And that's how I fight, and that's what's going to happen. I'm going to knock this kid out. I promise you. Mark my words. Put it out there. There's no pressure. I've been through, I've done this. That's another cool thing with Glory, man. That's a huge promotion, and I was able to grow with them. I was able to get comfortable with them. Now that I'm comfortable with where I'm at in my career, there's really no pressure. I'm more excited to go out there and show out and ball out and show off a little bit. All this hard work and all this training we're doing, I'm just excited to go out there and throw some crazy knees and finish this fight. And the contract's going to come. There's no doubt in my mind. You can't deny a guy like me, especially when I take this man's head off.
All right, that leads me to my last question. Really easy one, really a layup, because you did talk about it a little bit. But how do you see yourself getting the job done? How do you see yourself getting that big contract come August 4th?
Easy money, like layup. I like that, dude. By knockout, I'm gonna knock this kid out. I'm gonna show that I'm a veteran. I've been through the ringer. I say often, my struggle is my strength, and I struggled in Glory, and I rose to the top, and I fought for a world title against the world's best. I'm just they say that when you go into a fight and every fight takes a little piece from you. Those hard battles. You always say, man, a little bit of you's taken away, and while that's true, I also take a little bit away with each opponent. When I step into this ring, to that octagon to face this kid, every past opponent that I fought, guys like Michael Duke, Daniel Lunga, Murad Bouzidi, Simon Marcus, Alex Pereira, when I step into the ring, I want each one of those guys with me. I took a piece of them with me. I want them to watch this fight and be like, hell yeah, Jacoby, that's badass. I'm putting on for them too, because those guys didn't just beat me easily. Like, they had to earn that. And I just like the pain and the adversity that I felt. I want Ty Flores to feel that. And I'm just a veteran, man. I'm very confident, and I'm very confident that I'm going to finish this guy.
All right, well, there we go. We look forward to it. It's going to be a great fight. Obviously, that hopefully things go your way and we see you get the big contract on fight night. Thanks so much for the time, man. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you too, Lucas, man. Anybody that gets it out there and spreads the word and lets more people know about the Hanyak, I sure do appreciate you guys.